Welcome back, guys. Today's video is a bit of a different one, and today I'm going to look at how I approach training and in general what it's like to train hard and to maintain and improve my physique at and hopefully eventually over 40. So if you're 35 or older, a lot of what I'll go through today is going to be relevant to you, so make sure you stay tuned. Before I even get started, the most important thing that I can share is yes, age matters in terms of what you can absolutely accomplish in the gym, but the concept of being your absolute best is available for everybody, no matter what your age might be. So that's the number one take-home message. Whether it's good or bad, right now at 40, I'm in the best shape that I've ever been in, and you've probably heard that on my other videos. It's true. So what is it like, and how did I get to this point? How did I get here? Well, looking back, once I hit 30, I started to accumulate a number of minor injuries. You know, between maybe 30 and 35, elbow tendonitis in both elbows, shoulder injuries, a pec strain, lower back strain, something that turned out to likely be hip bursitis. Now, I was still able to train through all of these, nothing severe, you know, I was lucky. But that's the first and probably most significant difference that I've observed as I've gotten older. But then, back then I was also lifting in the same stupid ways that I was at 20. So it might be a chicken or egg scenario. Was I getting injured because I was getting older or because I was lifting stupidly? Well, probably both. Youth probably saved me in the early years from poor lifting approaches, and as I've gotten older, I just hadn't been able to avoid those negative impacts very easily. But over the past 5 or so years, my knowledge of how to lift and train has increased pretty dramatically. And that's definitely helped me to avoid or minimize the injuries in that period of time. So here's what I've done differently, and what I'd recommend to you or for anyone over 40, maybe really even 35, that you should incorporate into your fitness approaches. I've learned how, and I have really tightened up my exercise execution. And that's something that's relevant pretty much to anybody who's training, no matter what age they are, if you're just starting out or if you're 50 or 60. Learn about how to contract your muscles. Restrict the range that you go through on an exercise to the range where you can remain in control. Because the game really is about generating muscular tension and pretty much nothing else. I have a few other videos that go into greater depth on that idea, so I won't say too much here. But it also brings me to my next point. You know, when I was 20 or in my 20s, all I really cared about was how much weight I could lift. That was the marker of my progression. I didn't know much about tension or form, but I knew what numbers were on dumbbells or plates or on the plate stack on the machine, and that's all I cared about. But I was lucky, I mostly got away with it. For sure now at 40, I probably won't be that lucky, so I'm gonna avoid that. I encourage you guys to stay safe as well and reduce your risk for injury. Now, along the way, I have luckily had the opportunity to learn new movement patterns from some of the best in the industry. And in the process, I've had to unlearn old ways of performing exercises, which at best at the time weren't helping me, and at worst were probably causing some harm. I would recommend you do the same, as well as lighten up on the weight. Challenge your muscles to grow by modifying other variables like overall volume or rep tempo, or placing more emphasis on the negative or your rest period and so on. At this point, currently, I also modify or perform modifications of some exercises which I used to do routinely. So for example, instead of doing a heavy deadlift, now I'm doing rack pulls. So I substitute a similar exercise with a shorter range of motion. And even though I still have no idea how I actually got to 40, and I still absolutely want to train with the insanely high intensity and high volume that I've always trained with, I find more and more that I listen to my body and how I feel. So on days where my energy level just isn't what it should be, what I want it to be, if I'm feeling stressed, if I've been stressed, if I didn't get great sleep the night before, nowadays I tend to dial back either the intensity, so the weight that I'm using for my workout, or the overall volumes of sets and reps and so on, and change things up as I go through my workout based on how I feel. And that's something that I absolutely never would have done 10 years ago, maybe not even 5 years ago. I would just have powered right on through it. And one thing I was terrible at doing for years was doing lightweight warm-up sets or even muscle activation movements. And as it turns out, now I'm that guy in the gym doing those weird muscle activation movements before every training session. But I guess when you get to 40, you realize you don't really care what people think or whether they're watching you or not and thinking you're crazy. You know, for me, it's all good. Actually, watch some more. You're going to learn something you're going to need in a few years' time. Unfortunately, that's just the truth. Now, it also helps to have a good coach in your corner who can provide solid advice. I'm not just saying that because I'm a personal trainer, but because it's true. The more you're able to have someone to rely on and to bounce ideas off of, the better off you'll be. And I've been very fortunate in that respect. If you've followed my channel, you've seen a couple of videos that are collaborations with my coach, Mike, aka Mike Thurston. And if you comb through the billions of videos on his channel, yeah, you'll find me, you'll spot me here and there as well on his videos. You'll already know that Mike has had a huge positive influence on not only my approaches to fitness and setting goals, but on my current career as a personal trainer. And finally, I've sort of saved this for last since it's something that is a work in progress. I'm constantly working on a few of these different things, trying to get better. The first thing is my recovery time. It's definitely now a bit longer after an intense workout than it used to be when I was younger. So that's not the great news, but it's probably a combination of getting older as well as being super busy in life, trying to manage different aspects of my career, my businesses, and so on. But the point is, in trying to manage my recovery, I'm incorporating some things that truly seem totally dumb. Years ago, and I ignored advice of friends of mine that are a little bit older than I am. I thought, oh, they're silly, but sleep duration and quality is a big one. Mindfulness and meditation, I'm working on breathing techniques, working on being very aware of nutritional value of foods, incorporating alternative recovery strategies like acupuncture. So those are things I'm currently working on, so I'm not the authority to speak to absolutely each of those areas, even though I continue to learn more of each of those. And as I know more and put more of those into practice, I'm happy to share those with you guys so that you can benefit as I continue to progress as well. Now, as I'm always learning and adding good information to my arsenal, not only for myself, but so I can help my clients as well as you guys, and to improve personally, I would love to learn more from you guys out there as well. So please feel free to leave any comments that you have on your own tips on training over 40. I think we all need to support each other to not only become, but to continually be the best we can be over time. So even though I'm looking forward to crushing 45 and beyond for sure, I think I'll need to put together an updated video in a couple of years. I'm guessing that 43 and 45 and 50 are going to be a little bit different from 40, but for now, at 40, that's it for now. As always, guys, I encourage you to give the video a thumbs up if you found it to be beneficial, and for sure, ask any specific questions that you have below in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to answer any questions that you might have. And my usual encouragement, so if you're interested in weekly videos on how to achieve your fitness and physique potential, then for sure you should be subscribed to the channel. But until the next video, guys, aloha from beautiful Kauai.